Okay, this is test number 6 in springtime from section 1-1 all the way through 7-3. Picking up at number 19, we're combining things in order to eliminate them. So you either need to get 7 and 2 to become 14. That would be the least common multiple, or 5 and 3 to become 15. Either way, it's going to work out. I'm going to take that first equation and get negative 2x to become positive 14x. So in order to create positive 14x out of that first equation, you need to multiply everything in that equation by negative 7. This is where um, this starts to become kind of a little bit more difficult. Negative 7 times negative 2x gives you a positive 14x. Negative 7 times positive 5y gives you negative 35y. And negative 7 times 27 is a negative 149. For a negative 189. So look how much larger your numbers get when you have to do this. Then we have to take negative 7x and make positive 14x out of that. So we'll multiply this entire equation. It'll be much easier by 2. So 2 times negative 7x is negative 14x. 2 times positive 3y is positive 6y. And 2 times 22 is a positive 44. So now we have opposite terms stacked on top of each other. Take those two equations and combine 14x and negative 14x. They'll eliminate. Negative 35y and positive 6y is going to give you negative 29y. And negative 189 and positive 44 is going to give you a negative 145. Then in order to get negative 29, to get rid of multiplying by y, divide by negative 29. Do the same on the other side. And y's value is going to be since it's a negative divided by negative, a positive 5. So we went from using very large numbers. Now we have a positive 5. We can plug that back into either equation. The first one looks like the easiest one. Negative 2x plus 5y equals 27. Except instead of having y, we know a new value for y, negative 2x plus 5 times our new value, which is 5. So 5 times 5 gives us 25. We'll bring the rest of it down, negative 2x. It's a positive 25 equals 27. Get rid of plus 25 by subtracting it. Do the same on the other side. And negative 2x equals 2. Get rid of negative 2 times something by dividing by negative 2. Do the same on the other side. X equals negative 1. So you have y is 5, x is negative 1, written as an ordered pair, negative 1, 5. Number 20 says 3x equals negative 14 plus 2y. 6y equals 14 plus 2x. Okay, notice we're still using at this point combination, or what's also known as elimination. But notice your x's are not on top of your y's, and your constants are not on. I'm sorry, your x's are not on top of your x's, y's on y's, and constants on constants. You need to make sure that happens first. In order for you to do that, take one of your equations and switch it over in order to move. So if we take that first equation and we want 3x to go from the left side to the right side, it's positive 3x. You would subtract it, so it'll become negative 3x on the right side. And then 2y is positive 2y. You would subtract it, it would become negative 2y. So notice all you did was change the signs. 3x became negative 3x, and 2y became negative 2y. The negative 14 stays on its same side, so it'll stay as negative 14. So now you're looking at 6y equals 14 plus 2x, and negative 2y equals negative 14 minus 3x. So now they're stacked up correctly, but you don't have opposite terms. You need to make sure that one of them's opposite. So the easiest one to take to make sure it's opposite is to take that bottom equation and make negative 2y become negative 6y. That'll give us an opposite of positive 6y. So if we take that equation, in order to create -6, we need to multiply by -3. By +3. 3 times -2y gives you -6y. 3 times -14, it's -42, and 3 times -3, x all the way at the end, is -9x. Remember, you can't just multiply it by the -2y you want. You have to multiply it by every term in the parentheses. So if we take that second equation, the one I drew all over just now, and we bring that one down to where we can see them stacked on top of each other, again, 6y equals 14 plus 2x. Now we have two equations that do what we want them to do. They're stacked appropriately, and we have opposite terms that'll, when we combine them, will eliminate each other. -6y and +6y, when we put those two together, they leave us with nothing. Normally we would leave a blank there, but since there's nothing else on that side of the equal sign, we'll go ahead and put a 0 to hold a place. So 0 equals -14 put together with +12 is going to be -28, and then -9x put together with +2x is going to be a -7x. So in order to solve for what x is, we need to get rid of negative or -28 by adding it, and we'll put it onto the other side. Add it to the left side as well. You could have did the same thing with -7x. You could have moved it over. It would have been the same thing. But now we have a +28 on the left equals, when those cancel out, we'll have a -7x on the right. Get rid of -7 times something by dividing by -7. Do the same thing on the left side as well, and x equals -4. So now you have a value for x, it's -4. Plug that into any of the equations above. Pick the easiest looking one you can find. The first equation looks relatively easy, so let's do that one. We have 3x equals -14 plus 2y. Instead of 3 times x, now we're going to put 3 times x's value. We'll bring the rest of it down just as it is. Instead of 3 times x again, now it's 3 times -4, which when you put those two together gives you -12, equals -14 plus 2y. When you get rid of -14, you add 14 to do that. When you add it to the right, add it to the left to balance it, it gives you a +2. These will cancel and just leaves you with 2y. Get rid of 2 times something by dividing by 2. Do the same to the left, and y's value is a +1. So now you have x and y value. You put them in an ordered pair as x comma y, so -4 comma 1 would be your ordered pair, which would be the solution of your system. Number 21 says a jar containing only nickels and dimes contains a total of 60 coins. The value of all of the coins is $4.45. Solve the elimination to find the amount of nickels and dimes that are in the jar. This is how we're going to do this one. We're going to call nickels X. We're going to call dimes Y. We could have also used N and D. That might have been helpful for you, but I'm just going to label them like this to keep it consistent. We don't know how much each one there is. So the amount of nickels plus the amount of dimes, we don't know either one of them, equals, there's 60 of them total. So equals 60. The other equation, we need to use their value. We need to use their value. So we know a nickel is 5 cents. So 0.05 would be a nickel times however many, and I'm actually going to put this in the other color, 0.05, that's just saying 5 cents or 0.05 of a dollar, times however many nickels we have, plus 0.10 cents times however many dimes we have, equals $4.45. That would be your second equation. Now it says set them up and use elimination to cancel them out. Okay, the easiest way to do this is you want one of your x terms or your y terms to create opposite terms. Now we're dealing with decimals, so it's harder for most people, but most of us know that there are 10 cents or there are 10 dimes in every dollar. So if we multiply the entire bottom equation by 10, or in this case, we'll multiply it by -10, that way we'll create an opposite term. We'll get a lot more of what we want. -10, and this is scary to most people, but most of the time when you multiply, I should say all the time when you multiply by 10, it just makes you move the decimal one time. So what you have, -10 times 0.05 becomes negative 0.5x. That's just like 50 cents. Plus, when you multiply, I'm sorry, it won't be plus anymore. It'll be plus a negative, which will change. So -10 times 0.10y will give us minus, now we have 10 times 10 cents. Now we got $1. So -1y. You could put -1.00 if you need to. And if we multiply it -10 one more time times the term all the way over there, again, just move the decimal one time. You don't have to do any work. You're just going to move it over one time, and it's going to say minus 44.5. Minus 44.5. So we converted that red equation to this bottom one. It looks a lot tougher than it actually is going to wind up being. We're going to bring that blue equation down. X plus y equals 60. So now we'll deal just with these two equations. Negative 0.5x minus 1y equals negative 44.5, and x plus y equals 60. Now they're stacked up. When we combine them, this is like saying -1/2, negative 0.5. So when you take half away from x, or when you put those two together, you're going to get a positive half x. When you put -1y and positive y together, you're going to get 0y. They will eliminate each other. That's what you're trying to do. And when you take 44.5 away from 60, you're going to get a positive 15.5. When you take 15.5, now you have 0.05. If you want to cancel that out, divide by 0.5. Do the same thing on the right as well. And you're going to get x's value equals 31. So now we have 31, and if we look back at how we labeled it, there are 31 nickels. It's easy to plug it back in because you can take this equation that we came up with, the unknown nickels plus the unknown dimes equals 60 coins. But now instead of having an unknown amount of nickels, we know that they have 31. So we'll plug that number in, 31, in place of the nickels. And we'll get rid of that positive 31 by subtracting it on both sides. So the amount of dimes is going to be 29. So you have 31 nickels and 29 dimes. Number 22 says, by what number should you multiply the first equation to solve using elimination? Okay, if we want to eliminate using the x's, they're stacked on top of each other. We want 5x to become the opposite of 20x. So if you want 5 to become the opposite of 20, you're going to multiply the first equation by -4. You multiply the whole first equation by -4, we'll be able to eliminate the x's. Number 23 says to graph the inequality. It's already in mx plus b form, where b is -3 and m is 2, which is 2 over 1, tells you to go up 2 into the right 1. So when you graph your inequality, you're going to start at -3. So begin at -3. Go up 2 into the right one time for your second point. This is inequalities, though. You're not going to draw a straight line. This sign tells you that you're going to draw a dashed line or a broken line for this one. It would have to say or equal to make you draw a solid line. The other part is you need to pick a point and plug it in. Remember, this is back from a few weeks ago. Always pick the origin if you can, 0, 0. When you plug in 0 in place of y, you get 0. Is less than, plug in 0 in place of x. 2 times 0, or anything times 0, is 0. Minus 3, 0 is less than -3. We know that that's not true. 0 is in fact greater than -3. So everything on this shade would be wrong. Don't shade that side. Shade everything on this side. And we'll actually have to have one more little short video for the last two.